All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. So my name is Laurie Landry, and I have an exciting announcement, I guess. So today I'm doing sort of a dual interview. So I'm going to be introducing someone, and she's going to also kind of be interviewing me a little bit. And we're also going to be talking about something very special that is going on right now. It came out on February 14th, and it's only available until February 22nd. And that is the Vegan Health Bundle. But we'll get into that a little bit more in just a little while. So I want to introduce to you Dr. Shobha Rayapudi. She is a physician, an epidemiologist, and a certified lifestyle medicine expert and co-founder of Gift of Health, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to revolutionizing health by bringing healing into kitchens around the world. And she has helped people struggling with chronic conditions who, including some people with high blood pressure, people with high cholesterol, diabetes, heart disease, gut disease, arthritis, which is dear to my heart. As many of you know anything about me, I had a history of rheumatoid arthritis diagnosed when I was age 9. We can talk about that a bit later. So this really, resonates with me. She helps people break free from disease, decrease dependency on prescription drugs, and have more energy. She empowers patients to heal from chronic disease using food as medicine, which I also love. She takes pride in prescribing healing recipes instead of medications, which is so powerful and not seen with a lot of Western medicine doctors these days. Not to say that medication is not important at times, but I don't think it should be maybe the first line of defense against disease, right? So she's also a chef. She's a certified yoga instructor and a meditation teacher, which is really cool. And she's a speaker as well. Her mission is to bring the gift of health to a broader audience all over the world and make healthy living easy, fun, and sustainable for an individual and planetary health. So she has 2 products in the bundle, but I'll let her introduce those. But welcome, Dr. Shobha Rayapudi.
Thank you so much, Laurie. And it's such a pleasure to be here. And I'm so happy we get to talk about this. So I know high blood pressure is such a common disease, and 1 in 2 people suffer from high blood pressure. But the thing is, 50% of people, they don't know that they have it. And even for people who have it, only 1 out of 4 people can control it. So there is a reason why this is called a silent killer, because it does not come with any symptoms. Sometimes the first symptom may be death. So I'm really very passionate about bringing awareness towards this disease, but because this is something that can be prevented. And we don't have to suffer from this when it can be prevented in the first place. And let's say even if you have it, you can reverse it. So, and this is something that even though I'm a doctor, I didn't know about this. So, and so I used to think, if as a doctor, if I don't know this, I cannot imagine how would a common person know that. I used to think, okay, I'm such an educated person. I have spent more than 17 years of my life studying medicine and dedicating my life towards helping people. If I am unaware of it, so I cannot imagine how common people would know it. So that was my main motivation, to increase more awareness around it, and how that we don't have to suffer from diseases, and how we can break free from those diseases, reduce our dependence on medications, and have more energy.
I love that. And so you said that high blood pressure, especially if you don't know that you have it, can be a silent killer. So having high blood pressure, what does that actually do in the body that's a problem?
Yeah. So if you look at it, our heart is a very beautiful organ, and it doesn't stop working from the time you were born till the time you die. It keeps beating. And so since it is such a hardworking organ, it never gets rest or vacation. And it's not only pumping 100,000 times a day, it's also trying to pump almost 2,000 gallons of blood every day to around 60,000 miles of blood vessels. So imagine if you have to travel and if your heart is trying to squeeze this blood around the 60,000 miles of blood vessels. So the job of the heart would be easy if there are no blockages in the arteries. If the arteries are smooth, flexible, clean, the job of the heart would be very easy. But let's say if we have blockages in our blood vessels, imagine how hard the heart has to work. It has to do extra work. First of all, it's working so hard. So because can you imagine just squeezing your hand 100,000 times a day? Like you would say, I need a break, right? So but our heart, it does such hard work, and if it has to, so it would need more pressure to send the same amount of blood if our vessels are blocked. So that's, I mean, that's the starting point. So basically what is happening in high blood pressure, the reason people are getting high blood pressure is because like there is plaque deposition, which we call as atherosclerosis of our blood vessels, and or the cholesterol deposition in our blood vessels. So, but the thing is, not only the arteries being blocked for, I mean, this is something you must have learned in the physics class. Like when the diameter of the vessel decreases, the pressure goes high. So, as your arteries are getting blocked, so blood has very little space to travel. So that's one of the reasons the blood pressure is getting high. The other beautiful thing about our arteries is they're pliable. They're soft and pliable. But because of the deposition of the plaque, they become stiff. So earlier, I mean, even if the blood is flowing, if your vessels are pliable, there is some room for your arteries to expand, and there is some chance the blood can flow without much blood pressure. But now, since the arteries have become stiff, your heart has to really exert more pressure for the blood to flow in. So, these are some of the things. So, technically, what is happening is your heart is working harder than already, which it's already doing, so it needs more oxygen, it needs more nutrients. That's why heart has its own arteries. It has three sets of arteries to supply blood to the heart because it is working nonstop. So imagine if you're exercising, you're out of breath, you breathe more. Why? To get more oxygen. So same thing. So the heart needs more oxygen because it's working so hard. So even in this blood pressure scenario, like what is happening is it needs more oxygen, and it also needs more nutrients, because right now only little part of the blood is being delivered to your rest of the organs. So if your organs, because they need nutrients, they need oxygen to survive, so they're looking for more because they're not getting enough because of the blockages and all that.
And so you can touch on this a little bit if you don't mind, like A, what's blocking the arteries? And I know you said plaque, but how is that happening, right? And
Mhm.
also, what if someone's like, well, there's nothing I can do because it's genetic, my parent or my grandparent had
Mhm.
it, so it's passed down the line. So, my doctor says I have to take medication, like I can't change that.
Yeah. So that's a very beautiful question, Laurie, and a very important one as well. So if you think of it, what do you think causes blockages? So I'll just give it straight right off the bat because what we put inside our mouth is what like causes the blockages. Like if you look at it, so whatever food we eat, it has certain amount of protein, it has certain amount of carbohydrates, it has certain amount of fat. So, and all these things are again broken down into respective amino acids or fatty acids or cholesterol and everything. So cholesterol is something that doesn't dissolve in blood. So that's why what our body does is packages them into tiny parcels, and it carries them. That's why we call them so lipoprotein. So the fat is the lipo and the protein. So based on how densely they're packed, we call them low density lipoprotein, LDL, which many people might have heard of it, and high density lipoprotein. So there are, like, based on the density they are packed, we have this different type of LDL, HDL. So what LDL does is, like, our body can produce cholesterol. This is not something that we need to get from the external diet. Just like our vitamins or minerals, this is not something that you need to get from the diet, because your body has it covered. So yes, we do need cholesterol, because if your body needs to produce hormones, it needs cholesterol. If your whether it is estrogen or testosterone, or even for your vitamin D, you need that cholesterol. So there's no question like whether cholesterol is important or not. But like the thing is, if there is excessive cholesterol, your body cannot dissolve it. So all those excess LDL, what happens? They irritate the inner lining of the vessels. They get sticky. It's just like when you touch water, your hand is not sticky, but when you touch butter, can you see how sticky it is? The same thing, this LDL is so sticky, it sticks in the inner lining of the blood vessels. And when that happens, there is a slew of inflammation reaction that happens in the body. And that is the starting point for the formation of atherosclerosis. So, and when you're eating food that is rich in saturated fat, because many people like, I need fat. Yes, you need fat, but you don't need saturated fat. You don't need trans fatty acids. What you need is unsaturated fatty acids. So the question is, which foods have unsaturated fatty acids and which foods are rich in saturated fatty acids? So if our breakfast, if we are starting our breakfast with, let's say, eggs, bacon, because we think, okay, we need high protein diet. If you look at it, uh, eggs or bacon, they are rich in cholesterol. Do they have any fiber? No. And then afternoon, you are having the turkey sandwich or a chicken salad. So again, your body is getting another hit. And during dinner, when you're having your shake and bake chicken or pork chops, again, it is getting another hit. So your body is not getting time to recover. So hit by hit, what happens over the time that plaques are depositing, they're getting bigger, your blood vessels is being blocked. So I know this was a very long-winded answer in terms of like how your arteries get blocked. But one is food, like and there are other factors as well. So based on so the other thing is stress, other thing is your movement or exercise or not moving enough. So as they call, sitting is the new smoking. So like how often are you moving? So I would say in broad categories, these are the three main things: your diet, stress, movement. All of these things, they contribute. And and as you said, okay, what about my genes, or if I got it from the family members? If you look at it, only 1 to 5% is genetic. The other 95% is due to diet and lifestyle.
Wow.
So the good news is we have control. Like if we can pay attention to our diet and lifestyle, we very much can control, prevent it from happening. And as I said, even if we have it, we can reverse it. And that doesn't take much time, Laurie. People think maybe I don't know how much hard I have to work. It can just change in the next meal. Because the one thing is, I was talking about the blockages of the arteries. The other thing is your blood consistency. So imagine if your blood is ketchup consistency, it has to work so hard to get through the blocked arteries. But if your blood is vinegar consistency, even though your arteries are blocked, it can flow easily. So the other goal is we want our blood to be vinegar consistency as opposed to ketchup consistency. Again, the question is what things can cause our blood to be ketchup consistency. So based on what we eat. So when our food is rich in saturated fat, when our food is rich in ultra processed food, salty foods, oily foods, so that just makes our blood ketchup consistency. Whereas when we are eating more plants, whole grains, beans, legumes, lentils, fruits, nuts, and seeds, what happens is our blood is of vinegar consistency. And guess what? Do you know how much time does it take from the blood to go from ketchup consistency to vinegar consistency? Can you guys guess?
Well, I have seen it with my own eyes, so but I don't know if there's an actual like average number, so I'm interested in learning.
Yes, so it just takes 30 minutes. In
What?
30, yes, in 30 minutes, your blood can go from ketchup consistency to vinegar consistency if you just change the meal, if you just change your next meal. That's how powerful it is. So, what we are putting in our mouth is more powerful than any medications or the genes we carry. And the same thing, how much it doesn't take much time from the vinegar consistency to get to the ketchup consistency if we eat otherwise in our next sitting. So I mean, it it is two-way street. So as I said, like it doesn't take much time to see the change.
And so you mentioned the cholesterol, so that I'm guessing the same thing is someone who has high diagnosed with high cholesterol levels. It's the same, like they
Yeah,
just
yeah,
same
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, yeah. So, and just by changing your diet, you can decrease your cholesterol levels. You don't have to be on pills. Sometimes people think, okay, if I am on medication, maybe I can control. Because when the doctor diagnoses with high blood pressure or cholesterol, they are concerned because, as I said, this is a silent killer. You don't know when you're going to drop dead or when you're going to get that heart attack. So it is serious concern. So that's why they see, okay, if let us see if we can manage with medications. So what happens when you're taking cholesterol medications? So what you would notice over the few months, you would slowly notice that you're having some memory changes. And then you would slowly notice that you're actually gaining weight. Your appetite is increasing or there is some damage happening to the liver. So all these medications come with a side effect. So definitely you want to avoid medications if you're able to. First of all, you did not get high cholesterol because of the lack of those medications. So if you can address the root cause, that would be the best way to go. Because even though you're taking medications, and if you're not addressing the root cause, you would be just taking these medications lifelong and still be dealing with the symptoms.
Wow. Wow. And so, you kept mentioning, a silent killer and one, heart disease is in the US is the number one killer.
Number one killer, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, if someone could just, change their nutrition, even sometimes just a little bit, they could go off their high blood pressure, high cholesterol medication, not have all those side effects. They could
Mhm.
get to the root cause. They can improve their, heart muscle, heart organ, and obviously they would. I'm sure your clients are like, I have so much more energy. I can breathe better. I can walk up the stairs with
Yeah.
a breath, right?
Yes, and this is what exactly they say. So a lot of people like who tried this way of lifestyle, who try to change their diet and lifestyle. they are so surprised to see their blood pressure numbers dropping and within days. I mean, they don't have to wait for months. So they are so shocked to see that just by changing diet. Like, are you really kidding me that we are able to do this? And I have so many stories. So I mean, this is something I witness day in and day out. So when people change their lifestyle, but here the thing is, people find it very difficult to change the lifestyle. So sometimes even people know, okay, I know this is what I need to eat, this is what I need to do. It's very difficult for me to change the lifestyle. And this is the place where I get more excited about, because this bundle is all about like helping people how they can change their lifestyle, and it gives them everything. So first of all, you want to know why the disease is happening, listen to the lectures, listen to all the presentations, because we have so many in the bundle. And okay, you want to know how to cook without oil, gluten free, or like you want, so there are so many recipes available. And you want to change your lifestyle, there is so much support group available. So I mean, it is a plethora of information that you have in the bundle. So, and there is no excuse for you to say that I cannot do this, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, because like, like all this is just packaged into mere $49. So I mean, like, you are getting, uh, for the value that this bundle has, you are just getting so cheaply, I would say. I mean, and so there is no excuse that, okay, maybe this is something I cannot do. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. The whole bundle, so I think there's over 70 products in the bundle from
Yes.
all different contributors,
Mhm.
many of them doctors like you, which is incredible. And the value, the retail value, if you were to buy everything individually from each individual person, would be over $4,600.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
getting it for only $49.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I mean, isn't it that amazing? And what I love is, like, all the bundle contributors. So the reason I contribute to this bundle, so that I can get myself, because I love this bundle so much. So because there is so much, and I get to access the resources of other people. So like I get your recipes, like I get your recipe videos, and like that, there are so many things in the bundle. And this is something that I would like to have for myself, because when I started on this plant-based journey, I had to spend so much time and so much energy and so much money. I'm talking like even 10, 12 years back, if I had to do any of Dr. McDougall programs, or Dr. Cardwell assistant programs, they were not cheap. So you have to, and at that time I did spend that money. Like, I spent $5,000 for courses and this thing. And now I'm like, you're getting this in this bundle. I mean, at that time we spent so much money, and the bundle contributors are so generous that they are giving their books, they're giving their master classes, they're giving their keynote presentations, they are giving their recipes, like, outside of this bundle you wouldn't get for this price. So that's what is amazing. And I also get to listen to so many transformation stories. And what inspires me is your story, Laurie, because I'm like, you are an actor, you are an artist, you're a cosmetologist. How the heck did you get into this? So I would like to pick your brain, and I would love to hear your story, that like what inspired you to, I right now I know you're helping people with their autoimmune conditions or arthritis. So what inspired you to do this?
Yeah, well, talk about expenses. You talked about like just getting all these classes and stuff. let me just tell you how expensive the medical industry is, and having to have 10 surgeries and so many procedures and tests all the time and 3 appointments every week. That is expensive. So this $49 vegan health bundle compared to the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that I spent for 30 something years of my life is, such a such a vast difference. So let's see if I can give a little. So I was pretty much born sick. I had some malabsorption problems when I was little. So I started off right away and not absorbing nutrients in my food, having gut problems. So I was hospitalized when I was basically a newborn. And from then on, this is a little bit of from what my parents told me. Obviously, I can't remember everything from when you're a baby and from what I can remember. But I had been complaining about things hurting, my feet hurting, shoes not feeling good, clothes not feeling good on my body, waking up in the middle of the night because I'm super hot or whatever. And I was going to doctor after doctor after doctor, and my mom would go to my poor mother. I mean, she's just an angel, leaving work, bringing me to doctor's appointments, and doctors just saying, "Mom, you're crazy. Like your child's fine. Leave it alone." Or, "Mom, it's just growing pains. Her leg just hurts," when I actually had a broken knee, or like all these things. And when I was 9 years old, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, which was, I think, nice a little bit for my parents and me to have an answer, right? Okay, this is what she has. What can we do, doc? And at that time, and still, it's let's put her on pain medication. Let's put her on, anti-inflammatories. Let's just have her rest, sit out from running around with her friends, stay at home, or don't go to gym class, do drama. Actually, I went to drama instead of taking a gym class because everything hurt. And so I did drama, and I fell in love with acting, and that's how I got into acting and doing theater. And much later in my life, I moved to Los Angeles and got into movies and film and TV. And I still work a lot of it behind the scenes now. I do stand-in work on a lot of shows and some background work, and whenever I can get a role here and there. But yeah, so I went my entire life with these issues. And if I'm sure you have some patients who have autoimmune. Once you have one, you often get more. And it's unfortunately, so I had probably, I don't know, I think I counted it one day, I don't know, like a dozen autoimmune diseases and chronic illnesses. I had Hashimoto's, Raynaud's, rheumatoid arthritis, restless leg syndrome, erythromelalgia. I don't even remember all the other ones. But it was just, I had eczema, psoriasis, I had asthma, I had all these things going on. I was still, functional for the most part, but a lot of it was just, I was drugged up. I was on a lot of opioids. I was on anti-inflammatory over the counter every single day. I had an inhaler. I had every cream. I had every steroid. I was on, steroids, antibiotics, pretty much my entire life. My gut is still trying to recover to this day. I also was eating a really poor diet. My parents are fantastic parents. They always made sure we had vegetables. They always made sure we had fruit. But we also had a lot of packaged food. And my parents were both, they worked full time. They did the best they could. They did the best they could with what they knew, what they could afford. There was a time in our lives too, we were on food stamps. My dad had got into a bad accident. So, we would just eat whatever we could get, macaroni and cheese or something that somebody brought over. But as I got older, or actually even when I was younger, I didn't really realize it, but I used food as such a huge coping mechanism for my emotional and mental health. I had really bad depression, and food was always there for me. It always made me feel better. It always gave me that spike of dopamine that I wanted. And so I was eating, I'd come home from school and I would eat a whole entire, and I'm talking about a family size. Well, maybe I wouldn't in one sitting, but probably in 2 sittings, like a family size bag of Cheetos. I would eat my dad, my Pepe, which is my grandpa, my uncles, they worked at a place called Hood Ice Cream. So we always had ice cream in the house. Always, always, always had ice cream. So we had ice cream, not just for special occasions, we had it after school. It's like, so I had the food addiction. I had, I wasn't eating well, even if I had, the occasional vegetables here and there. And then I was just getting sicker and sicker. And I was, in my early 20s, I would go out with friends and I would use alcohol, and I'd realize, oh my gosh, I feel so much better when I'd have, drink alcohol. Thank God I didn't become an alcoholic, because that would have been easy. Or, addicted to drugs. I was on some heavy drugs, like stuff they sell in the streets, like
Mm.
fentanyl, heavy. And the side effects, oh my gosh, they were awful. And then of course you're taking all these supplements and medications to offset all the side effects, but nothing was getting better. And so I I had to start doing my own research. I had to start reading books. I had to, get on the internet and research. I didn't have something like the vegan health bundle. I didn't have something, YouTube. I don't even remember what year YouTube came out, but if I probably wasn't even on it when it first came out. And so I didn't have these amazing videos. Instagram wasn't there, so Facebook wasn't even there. Gosh. And we didn't have these other people who have already gone down that journey themselves, and found out about or told me about plant-based eating or vegan eating. I'd heard of the word vegan when I was younger. I had really no idea what that meant. I think I just thought that they were just eating sprouts and tofu, and they were like living in a field somewhere, and I, didn't resonate with them at all. And it was about 6 years ago now. Gosh, I can't even believe that. So in May, I think it's about 6 years. After I kind of dabbled with vegetarian a little bit and definitely brought in way more vegetables into my life, I started to feel a little bit better. And then I'm reading more, I'm diving in more, and I'm realizing like the more clean, however you how to title it, but the more vegetables and fruit and whole plant foods that I'm eating, I'm feeling so much better. And so pandemic hit, and my partner and I were like, okay, I've wanted to try this vegan thing, this plant-based thing, because I absolutely love animals. I actually didn't even really realize how much it impacts the environment as well at the time. But I knew that I loved animals, so I didn't really want to eat them, right? But I didn't know that dairy really even hurt the animals. I thought they're giving milk anyway. Like, why can't I have that? I drank milk all the time. I had cheese every day. Little did I know that the poor mama cows and their babies suffer so badly with milk. But anyway, we gave it up, and we thought cheese, we're probably going to go back to cheese, like, because it's cheese and I love cheese. And after like 3 weeks, I want to say it's about 3 to 4 weeks, the cheese craving, I'm not even kidding, like, this is somebody literally ate cheese every day my entire life, and the cheese craving went away. And I couldn't believe it. I didn't even really crave the vegan cheese. I mean, I definitely tried some here and there, but I didn't even crave the vegan cheese, and vegan cheese has come a long way too, even just from 6 years ago. So the stuff I was trying, I was like, this isn't good anyway. So I guess I just don't really even need cheese. But I I started to feel so much better. I got so much more energy. My joint pain was going away. I was sleeping better. My skin smoothed out. I don't need any topical creams. I don't have any eczema, any psoriasis. All of my labs got better. I have no signs of autoimmune disease anymore after having it, diagnosed since age 9. And I just, and then something in me also, not only just my own health, where I was like, I feel so much better. There was like another connection I felt like I had to just more compassion towards animals and other people. And I thought, I don't have any desire to ever go back. Even if it didn't change my health, I just don't think I would have the desire. But yeah. And so then, you had asked about cosmetology and acting and all that. I went to school for both of those. And I'm a licensed cosmetologist. And yeah, I went to school for acting, and I still do both of those things. But I really, since I had so many health issues, I was really interested in the health world and the medical world as well. And my mom always asks, "So how come you didn't go to school to be a doctor or a surgeon or something?" And I, if I think back, like, I had no energy. There was no way I was going to go to be a doctor at school. I could barely get through my other school. I was out of school so many times. Like, I didn't have a job for a while because I couldn't work. I was on unemployment for a while, or on disability, I mean. And but I always did really love the health and wellness world. And I always just knew that there was some part of me that wanted to help people with their health. And it just, once I like reversed my autoimmune disease and started to feel so much better and I went plant-based, I was like a light bulb was like, bing. like you can help people, spread the word, So I started my social media platforms, and I went, I took some courses. I went back to school, and so I learned a lot more about nutrition and business, and so I started health coaching. And I wanted to specifically work with women with autoimmune disease because that's something that I hold dear to me. But a lot of my clients come to me for their autoimmune disease, and then they also find, which I know that you're not shocked, that also their blood pressure goes down, and they can come
Yeah.
off their cholesterol medicine, and they no longer have diabetes. And you're like, yeah, yeah, because it's
Yes.
all works together. It's not just because I work with autoimmune doesn't mean that nothing else is going to get fixed. And
Yes. Yes.
I'm sure you
That,
know that.
so that is so true, Laurie. Yeah, our viewers are thanking you for the amazing story, and for us. So we got a lot of comments saying like how amazing it is, and they're so glad that you were able to recover from this. So tell us about. I know, like what helped you to get better, like what are the foods that you were eating. So as you mentioned, like there were certain things you started doing and it helped, and you were amazed to see like, okay, things are getting better, blood pressure is going down, even autoimmune conditions, they're getting better. So tell us like what helped you. So what are the things that you were doing?
Yeah, so I was mainly focused on the food, and now I've since realized that it's not just the food. You have to work on all aspects of your life. So, I think we're always our bodies are always healing on their own. So, and they're always trying to kind of heal and repair cells and things like that. So, when I help my clients, we don't just talk about the nutrition, but we talk about other aspects of their life, which I know that you do as well. So, especially in your journal, which you have in the vegan health bundle, you talk about your sleep and your relationships and your mental health and your stress and all things like that. But when I first transitioned and didn't really know what it was going to do, what was going to happen. I didn't know it was going to happen that quickly. But which was a nice surprise. But yeah, I was eating. So we cut out all the animal foods. We cut out all cheese, dairy, eggs, meat, poultry, fish, all that. Nothing that comes from animal. We didn't eat any of that. Actually, I think in the beginning we were still eating a little bit of honey in our tea. We no longer do that. Um, and then I believe at the time, we also cut out cooking with oil. So we weren't cooking with oil. If we had gotten something out and it had oil in it, we would still have it. But yeah, we didn't really cook with oil at home. And I think I might have even done that before. But anyway, and then we were making sure we were prioritizing vegetables. And of course, we were eating our grains. We were eating, our brown rice and our potatoes and our quinoa and trying to think what else. Beans. We love beans, all different kinds of, beans. So we're eating beans and yeah, mainly the veg, obviously fruit as well. I love to snack on fruit. And yeah, that changed things so dramatically. And then since then, I've put focus also on omega-3 fatty acids because I was still, especially if you're eating processed food, you're still getting a high amount of omega-6s. And so just trying to balance that out. So adding more omega-3s. We also love our avocados and lots of water, drink a lot of water. We also drink some herbal teas. We'll drink coffee once in a while, a lot of times decaf. I like matcha tea as well. And so, yeah, those things. And my partner, when we got together, so we've been together 19 years. Gosh, when we started dating, he didn't really like vegetables. He liked French fries, potatoes. He liked, he would eat rice, but mostly white rice. And he would eat some broccoli if it was like smothered with like that liquid orange cheese. uh, but he really wouldn't eat anything else. Like maybe he would eat a salad if it was like um, covered in like blue cheese and chicken and whatever. But yeah, he didn't really eat a lot of vegetables. And so I was like, look, I kind of want to keep you around a while. Because I even knew back then, I was like, you got to eat your vegetables. Okay. Even though like I knew he had to eat his vegetables. So I slowly started getting him into eating vegetables. And I really think that the power of seasoning and herbs and spices really help and
Yeah.
hiding your vegetables. Like if you have kids or someone who's not, their palate isn't there yet. I love to hide my vegetables in sauces and soups where you can't really see, even in your dressings, you can hide them in there and really get them in my smoothies. I just made a smoothie on Chef AJ and I just put a ton of cabbage in there. You won't even know that there's cabbage in there. And that's also why I love the vegan health bundles, because there's chefs, a ton of chefs in there too. So like, I mean, almost all of the recipes I would say are so delicious. They're
Yes.
seasoned so well and they're so creative and unique that
Yes.
I mean, it's so cool.
It is. It is. I mean, like whether it is desserts, whether it is smoothies, and the amazing thing is you can make everything. Like you love crackers and spread, yes, you can have them. You love desserts, yes, you can have them. You love ice creams, yes, you can have them. You like fried foods, yes, you can have them. So it's amazing to see how in this bundle, like you can have all of your favorites and that are made in healthy ways, so you don't have to, and all of this, they are made without oil, some of them are gluten free, and obviously they don't contain animal products. So it's amazing to see like how these recipes are not only tasty but they're so healthy, because they're just missing all the ingredients that can make you sick. So it's really amazing.
Yeah. And if our talk doesn't convince you, I still recommend getting the bundle, even just scrolling through, like click on the link, scroll through. And here's why. If you buy the bundle, even just Dr. Shobha has her Gift of Health Summit, which is incredible. And it has a ton of doctors and speakers and, you know, people in their fields, specialty fields that are talking. And sometimes it just takes a specific person that you resonate with, or something they say that really, like, oh, a light bulb goes off. So even if you're not quite hearing it with us, definitely get the bundle, because and Chef AJ has the plant powered party in there. So my favorite things, I mean, I love the recipes, of course, in the bundle, but I'm not a chef. I don't actually enjoy my time in the kitchen. I just enjoy knowing what goes into my body. Um, I love the transformational stories. I love the speeches. I love to just pop in my earbuds and go for a walk or go to the gym or cook or clean or whatever. And I can just listen to these. Those are some of my favorite things in the bundle. And then there's some incredible books that have the stories in them too, the transformational stories and how people got where they were. And, like I just told you, I got to ask you too, how you became, you've been a doctor and you were like, I thought it was just the medicine because that's what I was learning. And how did you transition to plant-based and how did you feel? And was that hard for you?
So it was so funny because I stumbled upon plant-based eating over a fight over a dinner. So after a long day of work, I come home, I cook the meal. So my husband, who is a surgeon, so he just looks at the meal and he says, "I don't want to eat it." I literally felt like choking his neck. I'm like, "What do you mean you don't want to eat it?" And he was saying, "Oh, because this has dairy, this has this and that." And I made his favorite things. So I'm like, "You were eating all this. Now, all of a sudden, what do you mean that I can understand if you say that I don't want meat?" Because at least I was a little bit aware, okay, red meat is not good for you while I was doing my medicine. But I was like, "What's wrong with dairy? Like, are you out of your mind?" And like he was throwing truth bombs from what he saw, forks over knives, and I got so frustrated, and I watched it, and that literally shocked me. So I was like, why is this something that I didn't learn in my medical school? And a particular picture where Dr. Esselstyn shows a blocked artery and opening up just by changing the diet, and that shook me. And when I saw that, that really shook me, because by that time I had already finished my medicine. I was deep into research, and we were doing a lot of clinical trials, trying to figure out how to cure people from asthma and like bunch of other chronic conditions. And I was like, why didn't I hear about this? Because what shocked me was there were published studies showing that if you eat this way, when you eat whole food plant-based way of eating, you can reverse diabetes, you can reverse high blood pressure and all. And this have been published in 1900s. We are not talking about any recent publication. And what shocked me was, why aren't we hearing this, or why aren't we taught about this? And the other thing that really inspired me in that documentary, I saw a lot of people practicing plant-based way of eating, helping people reverse chronic conditions rather than just filling up their prescription. So I was like, I want to practice like that. I want to become a doctor like that, where my patients don't come to see me every 3 months to refill their prescriptions, but who can get better. So if I can help them do that, so that is the way I want to practice medicine. So I would say that that was my turning point. And so once that happened, next came how to do it. So I was like, okay, I know that I should not be eating dairy, I know that I should avoid oil, but where do I start? What do I do? So, and at that time I didn't have bundles like this vegan health bundle, like where where I can get all this information, get all this recipe, none of that. And even if I had to learn everything, very expensive, as I said, like even if I had to go for any courses or anything, very expensive. So it was a very slow process. Of course, things didn't happen overnight, but since I had a why to why I wanted to do this, so even though I had challenges, I took one step at a time, and saw how I could change meals. So, and I love Indian food. They're rich in like the clarified butter, ghee, oil. The first step in our cooking is you have to put oil. Our vegetables will be dripping in oil. We also fry the bread. For God's sake, at least you guys just bake the bread. We fry the bread and eat it. So I was, and I was a sucker for deep fried foods. Like you might have heard of samosas. Those are potato patties. Those are so good. And I was like how can I recreate this, or how, because I didn't want to miss those favorite foods. I loved my yogurt, I loved my biryani, I loved my deep fried foods. So just by experimenting few things, so what I did was I stopped buying oil. And since I didn't have oil, so I had to literally figure it out, how I can cook without oil. So that was my starting point. But since I love cooking, I enjoyed creating the recipes without using oil, substituting the dairy. So instead of dairy, I substituted with plant-based milk. So there was a lot of back and forth testing, and we used to get so excited when we used to recreate that our own like cultural recipes and able to enjoy that. Then I was like, yeah, this is something that I can enjoy. So, and that also led me, okay, that gave me a big message. No matter what you love, you can plantify it. So that's why, like, I teach people how they can plantify. It doesn't matter whether you love Vietnamese cuisine or Mediterranean or Chinese, no matter whatever culture you come from, you can plantify your dishes. You can recreate your dishes. You just upgrade your ingredients instead of using, like, you swap the dairy, you can skip oil, you can skip butter, and you can just substitute and make things. So yeah, so that's
Yeah, that's so cool. And I love that you enjoy, getting in the kitchen and testing things out, and that's also what, in the bundle you'd mentioned, like, substitute dairy, whatever, like Chef Yin has her Ninja
I,
Creamy.
yeah,
Yeah,
my ninja
all
yes,
yeah, and they're all like, so if you like Haagen-Dazs or Ben and Jerry's, or some of those, like, they're big, famous flavors, whatever. She did like basically dupes that are much healthier for you, and they don't have the dairy and they don't have the processed sugar, so she did those, and that's super exciting. And even if you're interested in raw vegan at all, there's a bunch of raw vegan options in there. Lisa and
yeah,
Nate have their raw vegan sushi, which
yeah,
even before I really knew so I used to love sushi, like your typical, I guess actually sushi used to just be like sour rice and nori, I think, is actually how it started. And then it's, changed over the years. And so, but how I knew sushi was you take your raw fish and, and
Yeah,
your
yeah.
cooked
Mhm,
rice and your
mhm,
nori and then whatever else you're
mhm.
going to put in there. But I realized that I'm like, I missed the sushi, but I obviously didn't want the fish anymore. And so I was just putting all the stuff that would go into sushi, just omitting the fish. And if you make a nice dip or you add nice ingredients, avocado and maybe some carrots and whatever, like it's so good and you don't even miss the fish at all. And now, Lissa, I think is the one that did the sushi book. She has it so everything's raw. So even, instead of rice, I think they
Yeah,
use like
yeah,
cauliflower or
yeah.
zucchini, carrots.
Mhm.
That's really cool too.
Yes, it is so cool. And as you said, there are not only like recipes, but there are so many mindset options too. Because sometimes, even though we know what to do, uh, we don't do it. And there is a reason for it, because knowing and doing exist in two separate parts of our brain. And we have to know how to close that gap. So that's why, especially in this bundle, I also contributed the journal, because what that journal helps you to do is to close the gap between knowing and doing. And we and this is from my personal experience. There was a time in my life where I experienced lot of violence from my close family members, and I remember this particular day very clearly. I lay on my bed for entire day. Like I had no energy to even like move, and I just felt the energy has been sucked out of me. But what was hurting me more is, at that time I was teaching people how to lead a healthy life. Even though I was a doctor, even though I knew what to do, I was not able to do anything at that moment. So that moment made me realize it's knowing is not enough. Or even, of course, like getting all these books, getting all this information is not going to help you just because you know that you have to do it. But you have to also realize that there is some part of you, like if you have to, because the brain doesn't do what you're told to do, it does what it repeatedly sees. And at that moment, I just picked out my pen and paper and started writing my emotions, like not to judge, but just to express, like what I was feeling. And once I started doing that, I was surprised to see how I was able to heal and come back. And at a later time point, I came to know that there was so much research showing that like people who journal, they improve a lot of things. I mean, their heart rate variability goes up. They're able to improve their chronic conditions. They are prone to be more happy, and they I mean, I know, like, if you're a kid, your grades have improved. So there were a lot of benefits. So I was surprised to see that. So that motivated me to create a journal, because I wanted a journal for myself. So I put in the pieces of like what is that would help me. So based on all the neuroscience and all the psychological principles, this journal was developed. So this journal was not developed because what I read, but because what I experienced and what actually helped me to do, to build the trust with me, to be consistent with the things that would help you to build that healthy habits. So this journal is a beautiful contribution in terms of how you can what are the five simple things, or you could just take 5 minutes of your time during your day and do certain things that lifts up your mood, that can improve your other chronic condition parameters. So I thought this would help people. So this was the other piece which I wanted to contribute, because I know like there are so many things that are in this bundle that can change your life. So yes, so just wanted to let people know that this was the other piece that's in the bundle as well.
I love that. And I love your journal. It's like 89 pages and it's really thoughtfully well designed, thoughtfully laid out. And it's not just your, write what's going on today and then a bunch of blank like it's actually like step by step, breaks it down, where to enter different parts. So like it
Yeah.
prompts like work on your sleep hygiene, what was your food intake, stress inducers, your life, your fitness, your relationships. So I really like that because I think there's a lot of things that people I know when I was younger, and yeah, actually still today, I still journal regularly. My friend got me this cool journal where it's just like 6 lines, so
Mhm.
that I don't have to be, overwhelmed with too much,
Yeah.
right? But
Mhm.
what I find with only the 6 lines is that I feel like I have to fit, such a small amount, and so I just end up writing like what I did in the day, and I'm not writing about my emotions. I'm not getting out
Yes.
like certain things that I know would be more beneficial. So it ends
Mhm.
up kind of just being a calendar that I can look back on and being like, oh, I did that day. Okay, cool.
Yes. Yeah.
Your type of journal, you could really say, okay, maybe you can link the elements too. Like maybe it's something, maybe you had like really high salty, sugary food and then you couldn't sleep, right? And so maybe you could even link because
Mhm.
you ate and then how poorly you slept and then maybe you felt sluggish the next day and then how that all builds on each other and then vice versa, like I ate really well and I slept deeply and then I felt energized the next day. So you can really link all these things. I mean, I'm sure that they would get more in depth. I'm being kind of broad here, but yeah, I really your journal's so cool along with your summit of speakers because that's, like I said, one of my favorite things. But yeah, you're right. It's not just the recipes. It's not just the speeches. It's really functional things that are in the bundle. Someone in there has kind of how to organize your I think it was Timmery Hagenberger. She has like almost like a whole
Yes.
system she has in place to organize your fridge and know what's in
Yes.
there and
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, yes, and those are cool things which I know people don't get anywhere else. So that is cool. Yes, yeah, how to organize it, and thank you so much, like for like explaining what's in the journal. Like you did a fantastic job than me in terms of like laying out the elements of the journal. So I mean, like I had, I mean, this is something I always keep. On my bedside. So like I know like there's so many different elements as you see. So I know like this is the meal planner. So in this it's not only the daily plan, but like there is also weekly check-in, daily check-in, monthly check-in, yearly, and as you said, you can get a snapshot. What was I doing like 2 months back on this day? And the beautiful thing is you can actually go back and look at this, and every day you're just saying like what are the three amazing things that you did. So even when you're flipping the journal, this is what that literally amazed me, because every day I used to go to bed thinking, oh, I didn't finish this from my to-do list, maybe I didn't do enough today. So that's the way I used to go to bed. And one day when I was flipping through this journal, I was like, I did so many things. I was in disbelief, like because I could go, because every day I used to write like what are the three amazing things that I did today. And when I was going through that, I was like, that really boosted like my mood, and I was like, okay, so I know our mind focuses on negative things, but this journal allows you to also see what are the amazing things that you're doing, and when you just focus on positive, that gets bigger and bigger. Yeah.
I love that. Don't you think that that would be so amazing if your primary care doctor gave you something like this, something like your journal, and had you keep track of it, maybe for a couple of weeks, and then you go back and see them, and you could go through it with them, and then they could see some blind spots that maybe you don't, and like how, because now you're seeing a holistic view of the person, which would just be such a valuable tool. You need to patent that to other doctors.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. 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 So
That
thank
would
you
be
so much, Laurie. It was such a wonderful time having, and thank you so much for sharing your story. And it's amazing. Like I would highly recommend like getting Laurie's bite blend recipes. So and the amazing thing is you have videos as well. So like so it's not only the recipes, but people can also watch like how to do it. And the other amazing thing is, Laurie, I know you had included these recipes, but you had actually included more. Even you like, okay, how can I get my protein intake? So okay, you need the protein in that. You also, I mean, like you also had a link for that, and even for I think you also had the link for the skin. Was it for the skin products or
well, it's
so?
not for products. Yeah, it was it's called my
Sorry, like how you can get a
yeah.
glowing skin with the food and all that. So these are the little things that you won't get anywhere. So it's not just about the recipes. So what I love about your offering is besides those recipes, you also had this which people can download for free. So it's really amazing, and I'm so excited. I'm like I'm looking forward to like download all of them and explore all of them.
Yes, yes. I loved our chat so much. I was really excited to get to know you a little bit more and your story and how you help people. And I feel like I could chat with you for like a million years, but it's getting long, so we could wrap it up. But yeah, I love what you do and what you have in the bundle. And again, both of us have the bundle in our bios, and you can click either link, and it supports us. And just click the link and just look through everything. Even if you're like, I'm not going to buy anything, just look through everything, because
Yes.
you'd be surprised. And it makes an amazing gift too if you don't want it for yourself. Like, get it for a loved one or a friend, coworker.
Yes, absolutely. Like you just hit the nail on the head. So I mean, like people can just go. I mean, click the link and see what's all is available. It will just blow your mind, and you can decide for yourself. So this is the amazing thing you can have.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Laurie. And as you said, I know we can go on and on forever, but I know like all good things have to come to an end. Yeah, we'll definitely like have more chats in the future, because I know we have so much to share. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for being here.
Yes.